Hi everybody, it's me, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. And so today I want to talk about some of the unspoken reasons that you can get offered an athletic scholarship opportunity. And people ask me all the time, because one of the things we try to do with AthleticSOS is we try to figure out how can I give you an advantage over everybody else you're competing against, right? All these kids want athletic scholarships. There's only so many seats. And so we hear this over and over again. And so they always ask me, okay, what is something else that I'm not thinking about that I could be doing? And so I wanted to give you 3 of those. But before I get into that, I want to talk about some of the basic things. Some of the things we talk about all the time is you got to be in position to be offered this scholarship. So that means that you are in the eligibility centers, both the NCAA and the NAIA. Please get in those first, because if a coach sees you somewhere at a combine, showcase, whatever you're doing, viewing tournaments, some competition, and you're against other college level players, that's the next thing. It's really important. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to the eligibility centers on their phone or wherever they are, and they're going to see if you're in there. That tells them you're serious about what you're trying to do. And so many parents don't know about this, or they forget about it, but get in the eligibility centers. And if you cannot afford the eligibility center, go talk to your counselor at school. I think sometimes if you meet certain criteria, they can get you in at no cost. But for the most part, you need to be in those. You cannot be offered an athletic scholarship if you're not there. And then there's another kid on the court that's almost as good as you, or better, a little bit better, or a little taller, a little faster, whatever, but they like you. And if you haven't done that, they'll move on. They'll go to the next kid. So that's a big one. Keep your grades up. So if you can get a 3.5 GPA or above, it gives you a great chance, because most people are playing an equivalency sport. So there's head count sports, which means you're going to get a full ride at the D1 level. For men, it's just basketball, football. For girls, it's volleyball, basketball, gymnastics, and tennis. And those are the ones at the D1 level. Mind you, D1 level, you're going to get a full ride. Everything else is kind of an equivalency sport, which means they can give you partial money. Now, how much they give you might depend on how good you are, but if you got the grades, now all of a sudden I can give you some athletic scholarship money, and I can give you some academic scholarship money. It makes it a lot easier. It makes me feel better as the coach coming after you, because I know you're not going to go with another school, because I can get you enough money to kind of offset the cost of going to school in general. So those are some of the things I want you to think about. Now, some of the other little things that kind of bother me more than anything, sometimes you'll get offered an athletic scholarship because somebody wants, one of the coaches, the college coach, wants another kid that's in your travel club program. And so you guys are going for a two-for type situation, right? Okay, if you take this kid, I'll give you this kid. Maybe your travel club coach really likes you, likes your family, wants to get you an opportunity. Maybe they made you a promise and it didn't come through, but they can tag you along with someone else. Problem with that is that coach took you, and it bothers them a little bit, because they're giving up a spot that they can use somewhere else, but they do want the kid that you came with. So sometimes that happens. I've seen kids get scholarships because they had the size. Now, they weren't as talented to play at that level, but because of their size, and you match up with somebody that's on another team in that college's conference, and they want to use you for practice. So in practice, you're this long, lanky kid, and they want you, and maybe they can turn you over and things will go well for you. I'm not saying you can't overcome these things, but I'm just saying, just be aware of why they want you. And one of the things I always tell you is that they have to be in love with you, right? You want that college to really, really want you. You want them bending over backwards to get you. That's a big deal to me. And then, and there's a bunch of others. Those I'll go over there. In fact, inside of the software, if you look under media, I have a bunch of videos. Way down at the bottom, I've got a thing, some things to look out for. And those are the things that bother me. But I really want to talk about the unspoken stuff, because this is where it kind of geeks out for me, because I can't prove it, but I do know 2 or 3 of these it was told to me. So one of them is they're coming to watch you participate and play. And so you're a great kid. You play really well. You do everything the coach tells you to do. You're a stand-up kid. You're rah, rah, rah. Everybody on the team loves you. All of that stuff is going on. But they're in a game at the collegiate level versus the high school level, just doing what you're told to do. Verbally, that's what the coach is telling you. Follow our plan. This is how we play. These are run the play. You know, all of that kind of stuff. Stay with your block. Don't go off script. They're telling you all that, but what they're looking for is that kid, that moment. There's always moments in games. I don't care what it is, that you see something's happening, and you have to go off script, and it's going to make something great happen. You have to go at that moment. Do you have that? because a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't want to mess up. A lot of people don't want to get embarrassed. A lot of people don't want to go against the coach because it might take some playing time away. A lot of people are just used to being told what to do over and over and over again. And everywhere in life, at least in America, everywhere in life, the people we celebrate are the people that didn't go down the regular path, right? They always went off. And it's weird because we're told over and over again, if you just follow the plan, if you get good grades, you're a good person, you do the right thing, you know, go to get good grades, go to college, you'll get a great job, you'll get all the things that you're supposed to do, and you'll be rewarded for it. And then the first thing we do with our money, when we go and do all those things and we get that cool job and we do everything we're supposed to do, what's the first thing we do? We spend it on people that didn't do it. We give our money to people that didn't follow the rules because in a way we envy them. Now, I'm not talking about the people that go and do, you know, illegal stuff and stuff like that. I'm just talking about people that believed enough in themselves to go off the path and they made it. What we don't see are the people that went off the path and didn't make it. They don't get celebrated because we don't know about them unless they're in our family or somebody close to us. So that's the catch-22. So, but when you're playing sports, there are moments. There are moments in every competition where you just go for it, that you see something and you go for it. Coaches are actually looking for that player. They don't want you doing it all the time. It's not me. It's just that for the benefit of the team, I saw this, I recognized it, I'm going right now, and I'm going to do it. I might get screamed at, I might get benched, but it's okay. Every coach wants that, but they'll never, ever tell you that. And so that's one that you have to keep in. And college coaches see that. They come and see you play, and they want to see. The next one is really one that is interesting to me because when my daughter got her scholarship, and I probably told this before, when she got her scholarship, the school she actually went to, the head coach wasn't really that thrilled with her. He wanted someone else. But the recruiting coach, which is assistant coach, was the one that was recruiting. They saw it in my daughter. And so we talked about it a little bit. But when I talked to the head coach and we went and we kind of went off to the side when we went to visit, and he told me, he goes, I was looking for another player. Not that I was against your daughter. It's just that I never really saw her play. And, you know, I got some film on her. But he said, I sent a scout out and they told me if I can get her, I should go do everything I can to get her. So I'm going with the scout, which I trust, and my recruiting coordinator. And so I told him, I said, you won't see anything flashy. It was a big problem with my daughter. She's not flashy. If you're open, she'd pass the ball. She'd make a play to get you open. And if you come around a corner, the ball's there before you get there. She wasn't a flashy player. So when she played these all-star games or when we go to do a tryout for a travel club program, she didn't really shine. You saw that she was good and defensively she was great, but you didn't see her controlling the game because she didn't care who controlled the game. She just played. And so that's who she was. But I told him, I said, what's going to happen to you in freshman year, I said, you're going to put her in for a few minutes or something, and you're going to start feeling calm. You're going to see it in practice even. Because I coached her for a year or two. I don't know if I've told the whole story, but she was going to quit when we hit junior high. That's how I got into this. I don't know anything about coaching basketball or anything, but my daughter, who I knew was talented, my wife had taken her. She was on this nationally ranked team, 5th and 6th grade and all that kind of stuff. 7th grade, she goes, that's enough, Dad. I don't want to do it anymore. And I panicked a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute, you can get a scholarship somewhere down the line here. Let's keep going. What do you need to do that? She goes, well, if you coach me, I'll do it. And so I decided to coach. And I just got lucky that there was another girl equally as good as my daughter who had a twin who was not as good. And so they were looking for some place to put both of them. And and they knew my daughter was good. So the dad went, hey, can we do something together? And so we just coached together and we got a lot of the girls where they needed to be. So anyway, long story short, I told him, I said, there's going to be a feeling of calmness when she's on the court, when she has the ball, when she's controlling things. And so this next one is called presence. And it's something I can't really, it's hard to articulate, but it's a feeling. When you're on the court, when you're coming out, your teammates, you can see the teammates, when you're going to play, they feel confident. When you're on the court or on the field or you're in the game or in the competition, they're going to feel it. When you're playing, if it's an individual sport, everybody else in the field, all of a sudden their anxiety goes up because you don't quit. You just keep coming and you keep coming and you keep coming. It's almost like you're a robotic and they know you're going to keep coming, that there is no quit in you, that there's a sense that when you're in the room, this thing has been elevated. And so do you have that presence? And it's not something I can tell you what to do. You go do this or you rah, or you come out there and you got this intense face and all that. That's not presence. Presence is a feeling other people get around you. What is that? Do you have that? Do you have that sense of presence? Everybody can feel it when it's there. It's like you're not the most spectacular player, you're not anything like that, but you're in command of whatever's going on out there. That's the best way I can put it. And so I want you guys to start looking for those things in other players. Go to games, go to college games. If you're in high school, go to college games. You don't have to go to the D1 top, level games. Go to some of the smaller college games. See if you can identify the player that has presence, that you can feel it, you can see it. And then, so those are big things. And you don't think about it because it's usually not the superstar of the team all the time. Maybe in high school it is, but in college and in the pros, it's not necessarily. There's somebody that if they're on the court, if they're on the field, if they're in the field of competition, you can feel this person has presence. And mostly by the time you get to pros, almost all those players have that. It's just to what degree do you have it to make you the superstar versus the really good player versus the professional, the true professional. All of those things are there. So that's two of the three. And then finally, there's one that I think carries on and off the field of play of competition. And that is, how do you present in the world? What is it that people, when they're listening to you, when they're around you, when they see you, what is it they feel about how you present? And it's a weird thing. So it's interesting. Yesterday, I went to a football camp. It was a little mini camp. Somebody asked me earlier in the week if I could go. I don't know anything about this group, but I went out there to this football camp. And the guys that were there, hold on. Okay, so I wanted to get my phone because I actually want to give some credit to these guys. I went to this event. I don't know anybody there. And so these guys, I don't know if they're pro football players or whatever. I met a few of them. It was the most interesting camp I ever went to. Everybody was so cool and nice and calm. The way they treated those kids, and they were serious guys. They knew their stuff. They knew what they were doing. They were putting these kids. These weren't top level kids. A few of them looked like they could be top level kids, but they had some little kids there, and they were just in a neighborhood, an underserved community, and they were giving back. You could just tell they were giving back. But the way they treated those kids, some of the kids couldn't do any of the drills, and they kept encouraging them and kept pushing them. Now, they pushed them a little bit, but they were encouraging them. There was never anything mean or demeaning about how they were carrying themselves. And I'm just sitting there watching this thing, because I go to a lot of these, especially when we started with the software. I went to anything I could, right? And so as they're working with these kids, every single coach there was part of that. And so I want to kind of shout out their names. So the organization is called HEEM Team, HEEM. And then it was team, and then you can go to their website. It's heemteamwork.com. No, heemteamnetwork.com. So I want to get that out there. But I want to shout out to these coaches there, because what they were doing was incredible to me. I had so much joy going home after watching that. I was so revved up. With the software, I go, anything these guys are doing, I want to help out. If they're doing something, it was just that sense of especially the lead guy, and I don't know which one it was, so I'm going to say all of these names so you guys know who they are. So it was Alberto Sid, Brandon Sermons, Dalen McCutcheon, Dion Buchanan, Donovan Carter, Randall Carroll, Rodney Sermons, and Walter Thurman. And I have no idea. I got to go look these guys up, and they may be somebody that important that I should have known about ahead of time, but I was just doing a favor for another person, and I went to this. But the people that were running that, when they took that microphone, the way they talked to the kids, the way they just had this presence. And maybe it's when you're a top level athlete, you just bring that with you. But you can have that as a high school athlete. You can have that as a collegiate athlete. There is a presence. There's a way you move in the world. You're kind to other people because you have this sense of who you are as a person. If you can get that, that will drive you through the rest of your life. And so all of these things are things that I think you can do. They're unspoken, but other people see it, and college coaches see it all the time. And so there's reasons you may not get where you want to go that have nothing to do with you. But if you do those three things, right, you have that you present to the world in a certain way, which you should have anyway, that you have a sense of presence when you're on the field of competition. When you're competing against people, there's a presence about you walking in that room, walking on that court, walking on that field, walking into that competition, and everybody around it feels it. And so those things are there, and then you can rise to the moment. That there are moments there you can play within the game, within the rules, within everything that's going on, but you can rise to the moment where you go off the beaten path a little bit, because it will give your team, your organization, or yourself an advantage. Those are the things people are looking for. They never say it. You never hear it anywhere. But those are the things that make life exciting and worthwhile. If you can get a adopt some of these things in your life, it'll be great anyway. So it doesn't mean this is just for the high school kids. And this is one of the reasons that I think that last one, that one where you're willing to take that risk, that is why I keep on pushing the idea of and. What's your and? You're an athlete and. Because if you're accomplished in other areas of your life, this isn't so important. And I felt this thing, even when I was working, things would go wrong. They would take projects away from me because I had a little bit of that. Hey, I see this thing, I'm going to go do it. And people would say, who asked you to do that? And I'm not a problem maker, but sometimes I go, we're taking too long to get stuff done. We can help these people out in this way. So I would go off that path, and sometimes I get my hand slapped, right? But I was doing it for the right reason. But those are the things where even if something negative happened after I did that, it was okay with me because I was going to work on some other stuff. This thing I'm doing right now was something I had in the back of my mind. And people would come and they go, oh, how would you let them do that? You should go to HR. You should do. No, I'm cool. It's all right. I'm just trying to get something done. I was trying to do something positive. They didn't see it that way. It's okay. Right? And so do you have that in you? Do you have the ability to go, I got something else going on, something else in the back of my mind, some other things that I want to work on. I see something that you don't see. I'm going to have a sense of presence, and I'm going to present in the world in a way where I want them to see me a certain way. What does that look like? All right, guys, I don't know if any of that made sense, but it was something I wanted to do today because I went to that event yesterday. That was one of the few times I was driving home, and I just felt great. And I didn't even have anything to do with it. I gave the software out to the parents that were there. All the parents were nice. They were coming up, and it was just unexpected. I haven't seen that in a while. Most of the things I go to, they're big time athletes. They're, it's boom, boom, boom. The coaches are showing off for the parents. The parents are not arrogant, but they're feeling pretty good about where their kid's going to be. The kids have a good sense of themselves. And yesterday what I saw was not the complete opposite, because the coaches that were doing the thing, you could tell they had something about them. But the way they treated each other, the way everybody in that event treated each other is the way I just wish life was in general. So anyway, I just want to do that one for today. And then next week we'll get a little bit more into some other things that I think you can do. But people come to me all the time and go, hey, what are the things that I can do that set me apart? And so I thought this unspoken reasons that you might get selected was a good place to start with that. And we'll keep on going. We'll keep on moving with trying to give you, because you are a member of our family. Oh, if you're not, AthleticSOS. So what it is we take your academic information, the sports you play, the level you believe you can participate in at the collegiate level, and we'll show you all the schools you qualify for academically to have your sport. And so it doesn't cost anything to use. Always when I do these videos down at the bottom, I give you a link, I give you instructions, I give you a code, and I give you a link to show you what AthleticSOS looks like. It's only about a minute. Go ahead and check that out, and then go ahead and sign up. And I don't sell your information to anybody. We're going to create our own programs within AthleticSOS, so you guys will become part of what we're doing. And that's it, guys. Come join us. Go on this journey with us. We're going to grow, and we're going to take this thing. We're growing like crazy. I am so proud that all the events I go to, the most people signing up are people that watch me sit in this park and talk to the camera. And so that's pretty cool for me. So anyway, so it's there for you guys. Take advantage of it. Best of luck to you guys in all your endeavors, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.